Good morning, nation. John here. Can y'all let me know if we 5x5? We are running with a slightly new setup. The beaver's back, son. Baby beaver. Okay, so that worked, Amelia. At least that part worked. And we're 5x5. We're making history over here. I've missed that beaver. I can't believe I'm saying that on a Monday morning, but I've missed the beaver. Welcome to Preppernation, folks. If you're brand new, the usual suspects, y'all know the drill. Y'all basically the welcoming committee at this point, but a lot of new faces over here. Thank y'all for being here. There was a little bit of smoke, but hey, the intro let it clear out. First in the house this morning, Lord Eagle. Congrats on that. Let's go ahead and just tell y'all we're gonna have a second live stream for the folks in the coffee club and Patreon. That'll hit right before lunchtime today. So this is probably gonna run not an hour, maybe 45 minutes or so. Quinn, thank you for gifting the memberships and figuring out how to do that and all that stuff. If you're a member of the coffee club, check the community section, the community tab here on YouTube to find the link here in a little while. Who's in the house this morning? Dragon Lady's here. Dark Angel, Hunter Moon, Pilgrim, what's going on? KV Jones, good morning. Red Dog, woof woof, as he always says. Salty Dog. A bunch of dogs up in here. 2326TX, David Rice, what's up? Kelly and the moderators, thank you very much for being here and for moderating. Mark Wilson, good morning. Dome Sika, biscuits are in the oven. These nuts. Good morning, Mike Madonna. What's up, brother? Fred is here, Fred says. TJ Crawford, Blue Chevy Girl. I don't know. That's debatable. Yeah, I did. I think I did, Robert Moody. I'll try next time. I think I sent an invite earlier this week or something. If I'm not mistaken, I saw a message from you. Neo Vadden, good morning. Cinderella X, thank you, Jamie Gibbs. And Mr. Fister, Mr. Fister got a notification. Oh, Lord, here we go. So, we're going to be talking about some intel that came across on Patreon a couple of days ago, but there's also some intel that's linked down below. I'm going to try my best to break it down. If you've heard anything, Misty says, boo. What's up, boo? Just waiting for the coffee, Chris says. If you've heard anything and have credible intel to add to this, because this is going to affect a ton of people. So I got a Dynamite says, I want biscuits. Woo. I got a message on Patreon several days ago. I think it's been 3 days ago, maybe. And this person is connected inside of the health field. And, I'm not talking CrossFit here. I'm talking the medical side of things. So they said, they got a memo from their employer within 18 months, upwards of 65,000 jobs may be on the line. That's a huge number. All right. So when I saw that, I took it with a grain of salt. They messaged back. I did my own research as well. So this person, they are connected with Humana. Humana is a huge insurance company. They work with government contracts and things like this. They work with the military and all this. Kay, new member, thank you very much for that. And this person, which I'm going to go over some quotes from their message here in a moment, they believe universal health care is on the way. The way it was worded to them, they believe this is the implementation of universal health care 100%. So coming straight from the message, they start off with discretion, please. All right. So if they're in the chat and if they want to raise their hand and say, hey, I said this, but otherwise I'm being discreet here. As of yesterday, So this would have been February the 23rd when they say yesterday. All employees of the private insurance side of Humana have been put on notice. Humana will no longer carry employer-based insurance plans within the next 18 months. All right, so within 18 months, if you have Humana through an employer, that's probably going to change. And if you work in the medical field and you work at a place that accepts private insurance via Humana, that's probably going away. They went on to say if you're in the dental field, you're probably safe from all of this. And if you're in a field that takes Medicaid, you're probably safe from this to a degree. All right, let me get this baby beaver on. In honor of the baby beaver. Whoa, beaver, like the Bundys. So anyway, individual plans through employers via Humana will not be renewed. Um, and again, this has the potential to affect up to 65,000 jobs. Now, realistically, if they implement something else, some kind of baseline national insurance or universal insurance or something, a lot of those jobs will be picked up. I'm not sure what that application process will look like or anything. Cowgirl Prepper, thank you very much, and welcome. So this is a direct quote from the message that I received. This tells me that there's going to be universal health care and probably universal income along with that very soon. Another direct quote is you can see an official press release on their website. So at first I was thinking, man, that's a lot of jobs. This is probably mostly smoke and no fire. But then when they said, go to Humana's actual website and check things out for yourself, I said, okay. So I went over to the Humana website and I really couldn't find it. And I dug around last night before I jumped on there with Chewbacca. I dug around probably for an hour and a half. I couldn't find it, but what I did find was a news article from ABC. And again, that's linked right down below the video description. It'll say Intel, and there's a link that goes straight to it from ABC News, where they are covering the press release. So Humana has indeed announced this. Now, there are a couple of things that I want to talk about because there's a couple of theories. This could be, you know, universal health insurance for sure. I mean, that's probably the one suspect I'm looking at the hardest. But there's several different theories, I guess you could say. Um, Lots of people no longer need coverage for whatever reason. Maybe they wake up, one day and everybody in America's instantly healthy. Everybody that is attached to Humana, maybe they have found something that's just going to instantaneously make you healthy. I'm doubting it. Maybe a lot of people are going to be gone within 18 months for whatever reason. Now, you can theorize that all day long. Um, I don't want to pitch conspiracy theories, but maybe these people know something that we don't. Maybe there's something that went around and was strongly encouraged by the CDC. Um, to the point where a lot of people that are on Humana aren't going to be here within 18 months. Maybe this is going to be a stipulation moving forward with Humana that you take one of these things or you get caught up on all of these things. Hopefully, y'all know what I'm talking about, and they know the end effect here. My money is still on universal health care, but I need to tell y'all a story real quick. My daughter, she's doing great. Thank y'all for praying and stuff. I had mentioned this Friday she has strep throat. So we take her to it's a Med Express, okay? But the doctor there has a daughter that plays soccer with my daughter, yada yada, the whole nine yards. Anyway, she knows my daughter. And so she speaks a little more freely to us than she would some average Joe going in. So it's strep throat 100%. They do the test and everything. And she admits, hey, we're having trouble getting certain antibiotics. Um, Amy Vet Trump, I'm sorry, Army Vet Trump girl. Thank you very much. So then she goes on and she's talking about other things that they're having trouble getting, and she mentions the insurance company, and she different insurance companies struggling. And that's the second time I've heard that, because when we went, we had to switch off to a different homeowner's insurance. I'm not trying to bore y'all here, son, but they were trying to renew us. The place we had been with was trying to renew us, and you would have thought that Matthew McConaughey's mansion was here or something. I said, "No, you ain't insuring it for this. This is pathetic." So as I'm talking to the insurance agent who we've known for years, she proceeds to tell us that a lot of insurance companies, especially with homes right now, they're struggling financially, and they're actually turning people away, or the premiums are through the roof. They're praising homes for 300,000, 400,000 in some cases more than the homes are worth, because they're worried if something happens to the home, they're not going to be able to cover it. Um, so, I mean, all of this stuff may in fact tie together. The insurance, I'm saying the insurance industry as a whole, maybe they're just getting crushed. Maybe Humana is trying to pivot off of this and try to do something more affordable. So that is another theory, but again, I think it's probably, I agree with the person that sent that over. It is probably a universal healthcare deal. So universal healthcare, or universal basic income as well, but universal healthcare, you know, that's a socialism program, and it exists out there to a degree. You know what I'm saying? But it's been there for a while with the Obamacare and stuff like this. We called when they first instituted the Obamacare. We called not because we wanted to. What was it called? The Affordable Care Act or something. Not because we wanted it, but we had reached the point where we were going to be fined if we didn't take it. Like, you go to fill out taxes, you get fined, that sort of thing. So we felt like we were obligated to call. And it was going to be, we set on hold. My wife set on hold for almost 45 minutes. Good morning, Bama fanatic. And then it was going to be like triple what we were paying independently already. And we're like, no, son. And they're threatening you on the phone. They're like, well, you're going to be fined and blah, blah, blah. It just felt like we were going to be fined either way when you break it down. So I want to give y'all some examples of socialism programs here in the United States because they work so well. This is the first thing that popped up when I Googled it. So y'all can Google, socialism in the United States. Boom. And this list pops up. And let's chat about each one, shall we? So number one is public infrastructure. Ohio, is anybody in the house from Ohio? Perhaps. Such a great job they're doing with public infrastructure. The people that are in charge of the infrastructure, Milton, there's Milton saying grow food. Forget all the other stuff, just grow food, son. Um, yeah, why wouldn't you want people like Mayor Pete in charge of everything health related? All right. Let me just say as a side note, this has nothing to do with infrastructure, but I meant to mention this. We had to wait almost 3 hours to get into a Med Express because they were short staffed and totally overwhelmed. And I'm thinking, what would socialized medicine look like? Number two, Social Security. Man, Social Security's doing such a great job that every 6 months they're talking about we're almost out of money. We don't know what we're going to do. They have foobarred Social Security up beyond recognition. Why would you not want these people in charge of your health? I'm being sarcastic, by the way. Number three, fire protection services. Okay. I think they do a decent job where I'm at least. I can't speak for all 50 states or anything, but, fire departments in general. Number four, the military. Um, Having not been in the military, I can't speak a whole lot to it, but I will say on the outside looking in, I think they're still capable. But I think the military, number one, they used to be a lot more capable. Now they're a lot more woke. But as I look at the military, I've heard so many horror stories about people that are in the military and their families needing additional assistance because they can't afford basic stuff like being able to eat. So that's a socialist program. Uh, Number five, public transportation. Now, folks, I'm pretty much out in the woods, all right? But I've been to I've been to DC, I've been to cities, and my only real experience with mass transit was the metro in DC. And it only took one time for me to realize, no, son, this ain't for me. Um, it was just a horrible experience. You feel like a refugee on the metro in DC, and I'm not putting nobody in DC down. I mean, it was filthy. Everybody was rude. It was unorganized. Um, yeah, you can blame Johnson for a lot of that stuff, a lot of the socialist programs, and honestly, post World War II, or I'm sorry, post Great Depression, boom, all these socialist programs, the New Deal and stuff like this, which is why AOC has coined her the New Green Deal or whatever it is, whatever nonsense she got going on. Number six, police departments. You know, the ones that socialists, admitted socialists and communists are trying to defund. Look at the irony of that. Police departments, technically speaking, are a socialist program, and socialists, it's so bad for them that they're trying to defund their own programs. You get what I'm saying? I'm not on here saying I back the blue 1,000% or I'm against the blue 1,000%. I'm saying socialists are trying to defund their own programs because they work this well. Number seven, public parks. They're okay here. Um, there's a glitch in the matrix. We have a backup channel, folks. It's pinned up above. Um, Sorry about that. So public parks are okay here, but I know that in larger cities where there's a lot of socialism going on, they're not clean, they're not safe, they're not somewhere I would take my family personally. Number eight, public schools. What a marvelous job public schools are doing as a socialist program. You know what I mean? When states were in charge of doing the teaching and child rearing and stuff like this, the cat with the hats, thank you, respect. Uh, the country was humming right along. It seemed like, but now that our government has become like this hive mind and it's dictating to all public schools anything and everything, they're a disaster. I mean, straight up, they're a disaster. If you go to school board meetings in some counties, you're labeled as a terrorist because you're pissed about what your kids are being indoctrinated with. Such a great program we have going there. Why wouldn't you want somebody in charge of our school systems in charge of your health care? Know what I'm saying? Number nine, the Postal Service. This is nothing. Look, I love my mail carrier. On a human level, I ain't in love with the guy. I ain't got a sweet eye for him or nothing, son, but he's a good dude. He's got a hard job, and I'm sure there are a lot of postal workers that are in the same position, but the upper echelon of the U.S. Postal Service, they're like circus animals throwing feces against the wall. We're always having to bail them out. They're always going broke. Stamps done went from like a nickel. What are they, like 250 or something now? I don't know. Backwoods, what's going on? The Postal Service, again, another fine example of how government programs just don't work. Um, I mean, just go to pivot off here for a second. Has anybody ever been into a department of motor vehicles? That's all you need. That's like socialism 101 or an emergency room at a hospital. Go in during peak hours, sit there for 3, 4, 5 hours while people are, lined up, sick, coughing everywhere, picking their nose, waiting on the staff to do what they can. And finally, getting down to it, it appears to be anyway. Number 10, insurance plans. It looks like that they're going to. Humana is a huge insurance company, folks, and if they are pivoting over to socialized insurance, socialized you know, eh, pivoting over to only focusing on socialism and no more independent via employers and stuff like this, we're in trouble, is what I'm trying to say. Because if the government is not working, and the government is not working, in case y'all missed the memo on that, the government sucks right now. They're doing a horrible job. This isn't, oh, John being sitting over here being anti-American. No, love the country, but the government is not working. If the government had any other job, they would have been fired 20, 30 years ago. They would be without a job because they're the government, they get to keep their job indefinitely, but they're just not working. So if the government's not working, government programs, guess what? They're not going to work either. They sound great on paper, right? Free insurance, sign me up. Insurance for $20 a month, sign me up. But people haven't taken into account that we have a severe shortage of doctors, nurses, supposedly hospital rooms. I don't know this for sure, but if everybody gets through the gate at one time, everybody suffers. You don't get the care you need. You get pushed out the door. I just saw yesterday, I don't know the lady's name or even what state it was, but sorry, no, I don't mean to be rambling, but she was in an ER. It was trending on social media. They released her, and she's like, "No, my heart's not working right. Something's going on." And she refused to leave. She knew, hey, something serious is going on, but they were totally overwhelmed. So they released her. They're like, "No, just go home. Rub some dirt on it, drink some Metamucil or something." She's refusing to leave, so she actually got arrested. The police showed up. They arrested this lady, and she's trying tell him something's going on with my heart. She died on the way to jail. That's socialism, folks. Socialism is just like the Department of Motor Vehicles. You're a number. They turn you through the cattle gates. That's it. And that may be okay for somebody that's going to sit on their bum and not hit a lick their entire life. They may be fine with that. But the working class Americans and our vets, especially, they deserve better. If you're going to work hard, you should have good insurance. You should able to take your kids and not wait hours upon hours. And then when you get there, you should have competent doctors. You know what I'm saying? And you're just not going to see that with ask anybody. Ask anybody that has national insurance that's outside of the country right now. Sometimes they blow through chat. They'll tell you what a nightmare it is. Red Cap. I see. I can bring this stuff back on the screen. This is nuts. Red Cap Goblin. Thank you very much. I'm in good hell, aren't we all? Thanks to me asking scary questions, I'm no longer allowed to comment anything online or in chats. It gets deleted. They take my money for super chats, though. Stay well, man, and love chat. So I appreciate it. But look, man, over here, you don't have to super chat. If I see it and I'm done running my mouth, so I'm going to jump into the chat now. Nobody over here is blocking you, I assure you, okay? The only way to get blocked here is not to be a good person. All right, we can have a difference of opinions. Matter of fact, glitching bad. I'm sorry to hear that, Bama Jam. Um, but yesterday, somebody came after Bama Jam. Somebody reported you on Facebook. They snitched you out. I got a memo from little little message from Facebook. So I went in to check the comment because I hadn't been there all day long, honestly, and I saw they were complaining about your '80s post. She posted an '80s ladies' night out or something, and I forget what was in the picture. I'm like, well, this is silly to report something like this, but difference of opinion. But then they talked to her in a condescending way. They were talking down on her, and I'd stay locked them. There ain't no room for that over here. McLovin, thank you very much, McLovin. Oh boy. So Sergeant Rudy, if you want to see socialized medicine, exactly, go to your local VA and talk to the veterans. Don't talk to the employees. You know, understand that they have patient advocates there for a reason. And every time I've been there are tons of people over at the patients advocates because they're pissed because they're not being treated fairly, they're not being treated right. They're having to wait all day to go in for an appointment that they had to wait 4 months for, 3 or 4 months. No, yeah, she wasn't making any trouble. I thought the post was hilarious, and I'm not even a lady in the 80s, but it seemed pretty, it was funny to me. And yeah, so somebody got triggered. They reported it to Facebook. I got that little message, and I went over to see what that was all about. But then when I saw him talking down on you, I said, "No, you can go talk somewhere else." Um, Everybody has a right to an opinion, but you got to treat people with a little bit of respect. You know what I'm saying? You do. Oh, someone does not want us listening to what John has to say. Story of my life here on YouTube. Civil discourse is now treason. Not here. Not here. I don't know, Rebecca. I thought it was funny too, but again, I get that certain people aren't going to agree. You could post anything, and you're going to have people that get triggered by it. But when you start getting personal and you start being a condescending, especially if you're an old man and you're sitting there and you're always being talking down on people like, ah, no, man, this is the wrong community for that. There are communities that do that. If you want to be dictated to and stuff, hey, they probably got a seat warmed up for you. But here, everybody, gets respect, man. Um, Watchmen, I understand what you're saying there. Respect. I love the pick, by the way. It's biblical. Respect is earned, not deserved. I get what you're saying, but we should respect each other. This is the problem with half the country. Half the country doesn't respect everybody's voice or everybody's ability to say things. And I think we got to respect people's right to say whatever they want to, as long as they're being decent human beings about it. We don't have to agree with it. Thank you for your service, Jack. Marine Corps veteran. I know all about the VA healthcare. And honestly, that's a great representation of what is coming if we're going to have socialist insurance. Um, the people that don't seem to care about veterans and don't seem, they don't really care about the VA. If we turn into a socialist state in terms of our insurance, they'll start to care because they'll be seeing the same thing. And, yeah, maybe it's deserved. Quinn, thank you very much. I don't want to be ugly, but even if your opinion is hate, it's protected. It is. It is. That's the problem with Facebook and Twitter, Twitbox, etc. It is. It is totally protected. But if we're going to run this community, I'm not going to let people be talked to in a backhanded manner. They're totally free to talk about me, even me, however they want to, but they can do it on their own community page. Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate that, man. And honestly, I've got very little to do with it. You know me, I pour coffee, I plug wires in, and I do this right before we go live. It's all y'all, man. Rebecca, my dad was a prison guard captain, always said respect every man until they give you a reason not to. That would be hard to do in prison, but I can understand because there are a few people floating around in there that probably really are innocent. You know what I mean? Um, that would be a tough job in general. maybe outlaw farms. Respect is a lost thing like common sense. And maybe it's, maybe it's my fault. I'm from the South, in case y'all ain't picked up on that. And there's a certain level of discourse, you know what I mean? If you don't like somebody, you just don't say anything, or, you can agree to disagree, but it, you really don't see a whole lot of rudeness and backhandedness where I'm at. John Decker, we need to go back to drinking from the skulls of our enemies. We didn't have to worry about world elites when we did that, or when they did that. I've never done it. My hubby deals with the VA on a daily basis, and it sucks. I drove an older vet friend to the VA for years just to watch him wait for hours, yeah, and sent from hallway to hallway to get nothing done. And again, I'm not a veteran, but I used to, because my wife's granddad, he got to the point where he couldn't drive himself. And so family members would really, take turns taking him to the VA. And I didn't mind to do it. He was in Korea. He lost most of his hearing in Korea, stuff like this. So, um, I had to listen to what they were saying and write it down anyway. That's pretty much it. You're navigating the hallways, hallway to hallway to hallway, waiting room to waiting room to waiting room, just for them to tell you basically nothing at the end of the day. And hey, come back in 3 months. And if you're lucky, we'll mail the right medicine to your home or whatever. And I mean, that's socialized anything, socialized medicine in that case. Army vet Trump girl. See, I can see the name now. It's on the screen. Won't go to the VA. That's where you go to die. 3 years. My dad, non-vet, complained of chest lump. I'm sorry to hear that. Told him it was nothing. He had a massive coronary. I'm sorry to hear that. Um, Now I can say that in my wife's granddad's case, he was in a nursing home for a while, but they didn't have any. Again, with the socialized stuff, they didn't have any open rooms like in private facilities, so he had to stay at the VA for a few weeks until a room somewhere else opened up, and they were really nice to him once he got to a room and he got on that specific wing. Who amendments? 499. Forget the who. They're not taking my rights. They can thank you very much. No. They can sign whatever they want to. The World Health Organization is not going to take my rights. Straight up, period. And if this means I don't go back to the doctor, if this means I don't get to be a part of society anymore, so be it. Somewhere in West Texas, uh, I'm civil but not respectful. Civility's all we need. Civility's all we're asking for here. I mean, that's fair. Backwoods respect is earned. Um, brother. I'm just talking about you running into a stranger and stuff. There's a certain level of maybe respect's not the right word, but you just you treat people fairly until you know more about that individual. Thank you, Outdoors with James. Thank you very much, Greg. Yeah, Southern twang. Greg calling me out for it. At least they're not blocking it right now, right? Um, no, I haven't seen his newest. Aaron says anyone else unsubbed a bear this morning, dude being a turd. I haven't seen, his past few. Um, every creator is gonna some people are gonna love them and they're gonna rub some people the wrong way. I smile too much. I laugh too much. This rubs some people the wrong way. I like his presentation style, I really do. And I never heard back from him. I emailed him. I actually told him thank you for helping people that because he runs a charity for those that don't know, Bear, independent on YouTube, people that have been trafficked. There he helps with a charity that that tries to normalize these people's lives, and I think that that's excellent. And I do like his presentation style, um, but I don't always get to catch every single live that he throws out there. Um, Muzzle Flash, thank you. Good day, John. My real estate did a 100 per week raise 12 months ago. Now they want another 80 per week. It's swag and trailer time. So no kidding, man. No kidding. And don't try and get it insured anytime soon or reinsured. Paradise Acres. I got to clean 2 chicken coops before the coffee club chat. Well, I ain't gonna complain. I just got to make my daughter some chicken doodle soup. Lone One, thank you very much, and welcome to the coffee club again. For the folks signing up for the coffee club here, there will be a link populate in the community tab. We're finishing off Edge of Alaska this week, and then there'll be a poll later this evening, sometime this evening or early tonight, where we're going to vote on a movie for next week to cover. Red Cap Goblin, thank you. John Decker quoting Obi-Wan Kenobi over here. I mean, that's, you know, when I read that message on Patreon, I agree with the person. I think that this is universal health care incoming, but that was also in the back of my mind. You know, a lot of people no longer needing insurance. Why? If they're not here, they wouldn't need it, right? I'm not saying that's what's going on, but it's possible. It is at least there's a small possibility that's what it is, and they know that these people are going to fade into the sunset, so to speak, um, before this 18 months is up. Thank you for understanding that. Sally says a signature from the president is not a law. Yeah, and a signature, thank you for understanding that a president cannot just sign a piece of paper and take your constitutional rights away. It doesn't work that way. Yes. There you go. The top shelf is probably going to change. I'm kind of waiting on some more 80 stuff to come in. I just threw that top shelf stuff up there, but yeah, I'm a Pac-Man nerd. Decent. Y'all are great with these words this morning. Decency, courtesy, speak to people cordially. It doesn't mean that you have to tell them you respect them until they go off the cliff. Uh, respect until you can't. That's a great way of putting it as well, Chewbacca. Is be a decent human being. Um, this doesn't mean that you have to, that you have to meet them in the middle on anything. We were talking last week about compromise, and I think it was Southern Bear. I could be wrong on that, but Southern Bear was the first one that popped up. He said, there's no more compromise. People were saying we're in this position because we've compromised too much already, and I agree with that. I'm not saying we have to compromise, even with the extreme left. There's no compromising with those people. But even if I spot somebody behind me coming into a store and it's painfully obvious, maybe they're wearing a Bernie Sanders T-shirt and they got a green mohawk and a beard and a dress on, and it's painfully obvious that politically we have nothing in common. If I think it's a lady, I'm gonna, or a female, I'm gonna hold the door open. I don't care if they get pissed. That's just how I do it. The common courtesy, you know. And sometimes, hey, they do get pissed. Sometimes. Bear Paw. I sign up for online prescription refills. It takes me 35 minutes to log in with all the security crap, and I work in IT. What do older folks do? I don't know. I mean, we have the chain pharmacies and stuff here, like we have a CVS and we have a Walgreens, but we have several smaller independent, like family-owned ones that have been here for a long time in Surrey, and they actually deliver the stuff. Um, they'll drive it to your home and everything. 300 Survival, how you doing? Good morning. Scarlet Prepper, I appreciate that, but the mods do most of the work here, to be honest with you. Their job's tough, man. Their job's tough. Again, it's just me trying to plug stuff in. Man, I hope I didn't mess something up here. Jello, yeah, we finally got her on some Jello. My wife tried to get her to eat soup yesterday, and she couldn't do it because she had blisters and stuff. And yeah, thank you. She finally started on the Jello last night. Now she's watching. She's in there laid up, watching Outer Banks, I think, or something. Papa's Farm. My wife has been wanting chickens. I don't know about that. I, I don't know, man. It depends on the time and that it takes to invest for the upkeep and stuff, honestly, because I already have a couple pets here that my kids brought in. Oh, daddy, like Bruno. Let me just tell y'all, Bruno, bring him in. Birthday gift. My daughter, oh, please let us get a dog. Now he's as big as the desk I'm sitting at. Nobody can walk him but me. And he has to go out like 80 times a day. People are mentioning Woody Harrelson. I don't watch Saturday Night Live. I did see that in the news. Prepper trucking. He was just talking off the wall stuff. But yeah, I don't watch Saturday Night Live. Yeah, and that's the thing, Robert. I think you should be respectful to people, but as I tell my kids, man, if people are going to take that trip with the pronoun, if they're going to ride that roller coaster, that's their business, man. I really don't care, but I ain't taking the trip with them. I'm not obligated to whatever, man. You know, if it's a obvious to me, it's a woman, a female. To me, it's a female, and I'm not saying that to be disrespectful. I'm just not playing the carousel of pronouns. I'm with you on that, and vice versa. If I see a guy wearing a dress and he's got a beard, hey man, to me, my little narrow mind, probably that's still a man. Hey dude, you got a beard. I'm not riding that carousel with you, and that's just something that getting back to last week. That's something I'm not going to compromise on. You know, I tell my kids, I'm like, just pray for the people. That's all you can do, and hope they figure it out. Because you got to be, and this is opinion, but you got to be in a different place. You got to be in a bad spot in your life when you don't even know, which I call it sex still, not gender, but which sex you are. Um, you've either been lied to the point that it's just ridiculous, or I don't know what goes through somebody's head there. I really don't. Um, and I'm trying not to judge, but I really don't know what else to do about it besides pray uh, for those individuals. Speaking of, I see these comments in here, Greg. Speaking of, we saw um, Jesus Revolution this weekend, right before my daughter got sick. We're wondering if she didn't get sick at the theater, but that's an excellent movie if you haven't seen it. Normally, we don't drop the money required for the movies. It's ridiculous, but it was money well spent. Great movie. Ink Scars, what's going on? Uh, Psychology can be helpful and it can be dangerous depending on the psychologist. So I was required to take, just a 1 semester course in college on psychology, and I don't. I'm not big on psychology. I think it's hopefully nobody does it for a living in here. I think it's a made up science for the most part. I think most of the stuff that they base their science on is just on vague studies and stuff that they really can't prove to begin with. Uh, Stephanie, thank you very much. Yeah, Fred, theaters are ridiculous. The price and stuff. It was an excellent movie, and so I'm not going to complain about the price this time around. But Callie Prepper, thank you, thanks for agreeing. I was hoping that you weren't like a psychiatrist or something. It's just you know I can understand why people would go and talk to a counselor or something, like a marriage counselor or something, if you're there in a bad spot and they just need somebody to talk to. Okay, I totally understand that. But a lot of the psychology and stuff, nah, I think it's made up. I really do. If there's no way to prove it, like to outright prove it, I'm not going to invest too much of my time believing in it. And some people are going to say that's strange coming from a Christian, but that's provable, folks. The evidence is out there. It's all around us. Anyway, I'm going to close with that because I've got to go check on my daughter and get some soup or some Jello or something. And we'll be setting up a second stream again. The Edge of Alaska. We're finishing off that show this week, and we're going to talk about McCarthy, Alaska. Um, but thank you all very much for being here this morning. Until next time, God bless.